When the DNA of a cell replicates and forms a new cell, the nature and physical features of both the cells will be similar. We will understand this better with the help of an example. Take a close look at a frog. Where do you think the frog lives? As far as we all know, it can live both on land and in water. But the question is, how is this possible? Well, they have bodily features that help them survive in both ecosystems. Look at their webbed feet and the skin. The frog breathes with the help of its skin, and therefore it can easily respire in water as well as land. The webbed feet help them to swim in water and hop and move about from place to place when they're on land. Now let us assume that the cells, while undergoing DNA replication, do not create the very same features for the new organism. To give an example, what if we have a baby frog without webbed feet? And its skin does not have pores to take in oxygen from the air. The cell after replication has undergone DNA variation, and the characteristics of the new frog are very different from its parent. Will this frog survive for long? I doubt it will. Frogs constantly move from land to water and vice versa when the temperature of the environment changes. If the predators on land increase, they immediately shift to living in the water bodies. If the water body has less amount of food for them, they shift to the land habitat. What would happen to the baby frog that cannot live in the water? It will die or will be hunted down when the environment around it becomes unsuitable for its survival. What have you learned from this example? Is DNA variation good for living organisms? Does it help them survive? In this example, it doesn't. In fact, a drastic variation of such a kind would wipe out an entire species of frogs that cannot live in water. Therefore, consistency of DNA replication is very important. Let us look at another example. Assume that there are two kinds of frogs living in a forest. One type of the frog species has a green-colored body, while the other has a yellow-colored body. During monsoons, the number of green-colored frogs is comparatively greater than the yellow-colored frogs. When autumn sets in, the number of yellow-colored frogs has increased, while the green have diminished in numbers. What exactly happened during the two seasons? The variations in DNA replication have given rise to two different colored frogs. The green-colored frogs are less visible during monsoons when the environment is lush green. How does this help the frogs? They are camouflaged and cannot be easily spotted by the predators, and therefore are able to survive and multiply. And what happens to the yellow-colored frogs? Well, they are distinctly visible due to the bright yellow-colored body and are food for the hungry birds and reptiles. As time passes by and when autumn arrives, exactly the opposite would occur now. The green-colored frogs would be hunted down while the yellow survive and multiply. Nevertheless, the frog species survive and they cannot become totally extinct. How about variation now? What do you think about DNA variation during replication? Is it a good thing? Of course it is. But we must note that this kind of variation is mild. It's mild because there's no significant difference. But anyway, do you know what this above technique of survival is called? It is called as the process of natural selection. The various organisms chose certain physical characteristics in opposition to others in order to survive in the changing environment. This is also known to us as the concept of adaptability. When situations demand some kind of change in order to survive, the only way out is variation. Maybe mild variation is not bad after all. In our coming lessons, we will study the different types of reproduction of living organisms.